Welcome to NIOS. As you know, we had covered the topic Rise of Imperialism and Colonialism in the previous chapters. In this video, we will study a new topic in the same series, and the name of the topic is World War I. We can also say it like First World War. So let's begin. As you already know about three terms: industrialization, colonialism, and imperialism. These three created rivalry among European nations, and all of them wanted to occupy as many colonies as possible in Asia and Africa. However, by the end of 19th century, there were no more colonies available for occupation, as all of them had already been occupied. This rivalry led to the beginning of the First World War. Do you know when this war started? It was in the year 1914 that the First World War began. It is important to note that this war was much bigger in scale than any other war fought in the past. But how? That's because this war began in Europe, but soon all the other countries and their colonies became involved in it. So we call it First World War. This war was fought at different places between different parties and saw great loss of human life, money, and resources. The civilian population suffered maximum losses for the first time in history of mankind because of random bombings. Now that we know that the First World War was and in which year it occurred, let us now try to find out the causes of this tragedy. The first cause can be considered as growing competition among European powers like England, France, and Germany was the biggest cause of the First World War, as all of them wanted to occupy more and more colonies in Asia and Africa. Another second cause can be by the 19th century, all countries of Asia and Africa had already become colonies. This led to rivalry between European countries. In the beginning of the 19th century, Germany made great economic progress and needed colonies for raw material and markets for her ready-made goods. Fourth cause can be During this time, German navy became very strong and she built the Kiel Canal. Fifth cause can be Germany built railway line connecting Berlin with Baghdad in Iraq. This made possible for her to send army and supplies to the east. Therefore, Britain became worried about its colonies in Asia. And sixth cause Japan, Italy, and Austria had also become industrialized and wanted to occupy colonies of their own. Thus, the relations between the European countries had become tense, and all the countries looked at each other with suspicion. This led to the formation of alliances between countries that fought among themselves. Two separate groups of nations were formed in the world around this time. Germany, Austria, and Italy formed the group Triple Alliances in the year 1882. The main purpose of this alliance was to help each other against military attack on any of them. While to counter this group, a new group was formed between England, Russia, and France, called as Triple Entente. Members of both these alliances hated and suspected each other. Countries on both sides started collecting more and more dangerous weapons, and there spread danger of war in the world. Another problem that was present before the world at that time was the Balkan Issue and the resulting Pan Slav Movement. Learners, Balkan was the area in East Europe that consisted of countries like Greece, Serbia, Montenegro, fourth country Bulgaria, etc. Earlier, these states were a part of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire ruled by Turkey. However, with the breakup of Ottoman Empire, European countries like Austria and Russia tried to occupy these states. At this time, a movement was started by the Slav people of these East European countries called as the Pan Slav Movement. Their demand was the formation of one united Slav nation as Serbia. While Russia supported this demand, but Austria opposed it, and this led to enmity between Russia and Austria. Thus, we see that the situation in Europe was very tense in the year 1914, and it just needed a spark to turn into war. However, the immediate cause of the war was the murder of Archduke Ferdinand. Who was this Archduke Ferdinand? He was the heir of Austria, or we can say successor of Austria. He, along with his wife, had gone to the capital of Sarajevo, Sarajevo, which was capital of Bosnia. At that place, he was killed by Serbian person named Gavrilo Princip on 28th June in the year 1914. Austria blamed Serbia for the death of their prince and threatened to declare war for its condition, as these conditions were not accepted. However, Serbia, supported by Russia, refused to accept the demands of Austria. And finally, on 28th July in the year 1914, Austria declared war against Serbia. As Germany was a friend of Austria, she declared war against Russia and later against France. While England declared war on Germany, thus we see that a small incident became the cause of the First World War. Now that we know how the First World War started, let us try now to understand the events that took place during the war. First World War lasted for 4 years, from the year 1914 till the year 1918. Many important wars were fought during this period. Some examples are like battles of Marne, Verdu, Somme, and Jutland. However, two important events took place in the year 1917 that changed the course of World War I. These events were the entry of America and withdrawal of Russia from World War in the year 1917. Do you know why America joined the First World War? Okay, let me tell you. Actually, a British ship named Lusitania was sunk by German U boats, and this ship was carrying American passengers who were killed in this incident, and this incident pushed America to join the war. On the other hand, a revolution took place in Russia in the year 1947. All the revolutionaries demanded peace. Therefore, Russia left war and signed peace agreement with Germany. As far as German people are concerned, they were not happy with the war and revolted against their ruler. The ruler, Wilhelm II, ran away and the monarchy was abolished. The new government signed Peace Treaty of Versailles in the year 1918 and the war came to an end. The First World War came to an end, but it had very bad results. Now let's understand the results in detail. The First World War was the most terrible war in the history of mankind so far. Almost 1 million people were killed in this war. Property was damaged and a lot of money was spent over the war. The economies of European countries were badly affected, causing unemployment and poverty. However, the most important result of First World War was that many treaties were signed with various defeated nations, and the most significant among them was the Treaty of Versailles. Learners, do you know where and between whom this treaty was signed? It was signed in the place of Versailles, situated in the city of Paris, and it was signed between Germany and another group of elite powers. This group had Britain, France, and America. These three countries together were elite power at that time. It is important to note that Russia was not part of this agreement. As part of Treaty of Versailles, German power was destroyed by the winning nations. She was held responsible for war. She had to pay large amount of money as compensation. All German colonies were taken from her. All her ships were sunk. The region of Alsace, Lorraine, that Germany had occupied in the year 1871 was given back to France. Saar Valley of Germany, that had huge coal mines, was given to France for 15 years. All in all, Germany was left weak and crushed. Besides Treaty of Versailles, another treaty of Saint Germain signed with Austria and Treaty of Serbs with Turkey were equally humiliating. Thus, we see that peace treaties had major political results. Monarchies were thrown away in countries like Russia, Germany, and Austria. Instead of monarchies, republic governments were set up there. And in Europe, two new states of Czechoslovakia and Yugoslovakia were created. Learners, don't you feel that the peace treaties were one sided, unjust, and forced upon the defeated nations? They were, indeed, and in them lay the seeds of another war. Another important result of the First World War was the decrease in European supremacy and rise of Russia and America as world powers. However, the most important result of the First World War was the formation of the League of Nations. This international organization was born in the year 1920. The brain behind its birth was that of the American president, whose name was Woodrow Wilson. Wilson. This organization was based on the peace program of Mr. Wilson, called as Wilson's 14 Points. The basic goal of this body was to maintain peace and security in the world and increase cooperation among countries. However, the League failed in its objective and could not take desired action against aggressor countries in the upcoming years to come. And we can say that this failure of leagues, in fact, became a big cause of the Second World War. With this, we come to the end of this lecture. For more information, you can visit our website www.nios.ac.in. You can also email us at signlanguage@nios.ac.in. Thank you for watching.